So how's the Crested Butte real estate market doing? My market report through the end of October 2019 gives you all the details and the big picture. But at a high level, the market has been pretty healthy and it's been pretty productive. However, there has been quite a bit of an anomaly. You know, we had about 12 months since the Vail acquisition. Vail acquired the ski resort in Crested Butte, and it's put a little bit of confusion in the market. The result of that is we're about 32% down based on the number of transactions, and volume is down about 7.5% year to date compared to similar results from last year and then prior years. So it certainly has put a pause in the market. And as I look at the transactions, and there's a ton of detail here, I break it down by area and by price point and by product type, meaning single family home to condo, townhome, and land. But if you look at the number of transactions, we are way down compared to, you know, last year. I think the numbers are 264 this year compared to 389 last year this same time. A lot of that was land, but it's been across the board in all categories. So what we're seeing are people are like, okay, well, why is that happening? And I try to dig in to understand what's going on with the patterns and trends in the Crested Butte real estate market. What I've identified is that, you know, I think when you go back 12 months and you think about when Vail acquired Crested Butte, there was an immediate bump in some of the properties. Some sellers said, okay, well, then there's now an incremental 10 to 20% of value on top of the asking price that I currently had for my property. And then, you know, there really wasn't any justification for that. There wasn't any proof or comps that would support those increased or inflated price points. But sellers felt like, okay, well, Vail adds value to the Crested Butte real estate market, and so that's somewhere in the 10 to 20% range. And so they put an incremental value add on top of the price point, and those homes that came on after kind of looked at some of the other asking prices. And sometimes some sellers in the Crested Butte market, let's be honest, generally are pretty affluent second homeowners that don't have to sell. And there's a lot of clients that I have and sellers in the market that are like, you know, hey, I don't have a timeline, or I don't have anything that, you know, if I sold this property, you know, next month versus 6 months from now or a year from now, it's going to make a big difference. We continue to use the home. We continue to maybe rent the home. We enjoy the opportunity to still have the home in Crested Butte. It's not like there's a finite timeline. On a permanent resident home, a lot of times people are selling their home and they need to sell it before they can move into another home. In a secondary market like Crested Butte, a lot of the sellers are affluent and they don't have to sell. So that goes into they kind of look at the other properties that have come on the market in the last 12 months. And given that our days on market is generally depending on the product type, it's between 200 and 300 days. It's not unusual that there's properties that, you know, and we have the shoulder seasons, properties are on the market for a longer period of time. And especially the higher you get in the price point, there's just fewer buyers, and there's quite a number of properties that are opportunities or options for buyers out there. So the net is that I think the buyers are looking at the market and they've kind of been shocked, and they're taking a step back and really being a little bit more specific on what their criteria is, their price point, and trying to kind of wait until they find the perfect home. And I would advise buyers, if you do find that perfect home, you know, pull the trigger and make a decision, because some of those perfect homes for you are going to be perfect for other buyers as well. And I've seen some scenarios where buyers have waited, or they maybe were a little bit coy with their offer, and they ended up getting into a scenario where the seller either rejected their offer or there was another buyer competing for that same property. So it can be a little bit of a different market. It's not necessarily a seller's market, but I would say for sure, if there's a property that is quality and it is priced to the market or a little bit above, it's probably a really good opportunity for buyers to make that move. What I also talk about in the market report is that we've seen, you know, prices for building and expense for building rise significantly. So there's been a little bit of a jump in with all the construction. Architects are very busy, general contractors are very busy, and subcontractors are very busy. So because of that, we've seen labor costs and cost for construction rise. I had a client that was looking at the potential of building a home, and the end result, including the land, was around $750 a square foot, meaning it was a much more expensive proposition than buying an existing property. And so they made a decision to hold and not build. So there is been a reduction in the acquisition or the transactions for land. I think because some buyers realize that it may take 2 to 3 years from the start to get the home built before they could put their head on a pillow. And then number two, it's a pretty expensive proposition to build that home, and there's some risk associated with, you know, will there be overages and what's the timeline and when will the home get built? And we have great architects and great you know, general contractors and builders and subs in our market, but they're all very, very busy, and so just the supply and demand metrics come into play in that regard. So anyway, hopefully that has been informative. I definitely encourage you to go to my website, chriskopf.com, and you know, navigate to get on my email newsletter distribution list. And my market report comes out every single month, and you'll get that in your inbox. And if I can ever answer any questions about the market, and you want me to do a detailed property valuation report for you and your home, I'm happy to do that. And hopefully it's been informative, and I look forward to seeing you in Crested Butte. And if you are there, feel free to give me a call. I'd love to have coffee or breakfast, or this winter, let's go take some runs. So have an awesome day.